Previously on Power Reviews. Welcome to year one. Happy New Year! Some New Year's resolutions. Find a publisher, make some new friends, getting some cardio, be somebody's hero. We'll be reviewing all 7 final episodes of Super Samurai. And now, Database Rangers Power Reviews. Greetings, Ranger fans, and welcome to Power Reviews. Ow. Sorry, I had a run-in with one of my neighbors in the laundry room. Looks like my resolution to make new friends isn't going too well. Hi! That girl has a mean arm. Ow! Anywho, let's get back to our countdown of Super Samurai's final 7. Now, what I failed to mention last time was the exceptionally long hiatus between the last 2 episodes. 5 months and a day, to be exact. So when the series did return, it was a record low for Super Samurai's premiere ratings. Now, while I'm not sure exactly what happened next as far as Nickelodeon was concerned, I think it may have gone something like this.
I say, these ratings are terrible.
Well, sir, we didn't advertise it at all.
Well, then our next step should be obvious.
Advertise the next episode?
No, that would be absurd. We should pull the next episode.
What?
We'll show it later.
Later?
After the Halloween special. The audience will love it so much they won't care that we skipped a week. Then we'll have them back.
Sir, have you seen the Halloween special?
Oh my, no, I don't watch children's television. Also, I hate puppies.
Or something like that.
Is there a reason they're both affecting abysmally poor British accents?
Okay, moving on. How about we sum up the key plot points from last time?
Fine. Serrator asked Decker to help split open the world, and the ground exploded from the accumulated misery caused by previous episodes.
Don't you mean caused in... You know what? Never mind. That sounds about right. So let's find out what Decker decides to do about Serrator's crack... That didn't come out right. With episode 15 of Power Rangers Super Samurai, Stroke of Fate. After a quick...
Previously on Power Rangers.
We pick up right where we left off, with the Rangers recovering from the recent explosion. Somehow, despite being separated as 2 groups of 3 before the blast, the main 5 all ended up together, while Antonio wakes up off in the distance. If you're expecting another diagram to explain this, I got nothing. He picks up his Barracuda blade, which somehow didn't disappear when he demorphed, and spots an unconscious Decker among the rubble. Realizing that this might be his only chance to stop Serrator's plan once and for all, he slowly draws his blade. Oh, sorry there. Someone must have snipped the wire, suspending my disbelief. I'm sorry to interrupt the episode this early on, but I just can't let this slide. At no point in the entirety of the series has any Power Ranger ever considered attacking a helpless opponent, especially one with a sympathetic backstory. This scene is made especially bizarre by the presence of Rick Medina, the actor who plays Decker, who also portrayed Cole the Red Ranger in Power Rangers Wild Force. That character had a perfect opportunity to eliminate Victor Adler after he'd been stripped of the powers of Master Org, and passed it up. This was the man who had been behind every struggle he had ever faced, including the death of his parents, and was outright asking for it. Decker, on the other hand, is clearly a pawn of Serrator, and is the victim of a curse due to no fault of his own. To even consider destroying him while he's lying helpless is a clear case of values dissonance. Not to mention the fact that this is Antonio, arguably the most lighthearted and soft-hearted member of the team. Now I ask you, does this seem like a good fit?
No. It wouldn't be right.
Exactly. So he instead decides to... walk away. Seriously? You're not going to try to detain him or capture him or... Gah! We're only 2 minutes into this episode! So the Rangers meet up in the Shiba house, with their clothes magically clean somehow, to discuss how best to deal with Serrator's plan. Upon hearing that stopping Decker is the key, Antonio confesses to his earlier mercy, ashamed at his supposed weakness. Although Jaden and Mike assure him that he made the right choice, he seems more convinced by Kevin's scowling headshake, and runs off to correct his mistake. Off in the wilderness, Decker refreshes himself in the river and mulls over Serrator's words with a pretty awesome split-face reflection shot. In his wanderings, he comes across the remains of his old home. Although he seems to flash back to the fire, and Dayu arrives to try to stir up his memory, Decker still remembers nothing about his old life, feeling
Nothing at all.
If only you could remember.
Then why don't you tell him?
Perhaps she's already tried.
What?
Oh, perhaps she's already tried to tell him the truth.
Care to elaborate?
Well, Serrator did say that Decker would live, but with no memory of Dayu. So it's entirely possible that his curse prevents him from ever recalling his past, and any attempt to describe it to him would result in that information being erased as well. Which would explain why Dayu was so despondent when she was first discovered by Master Xandred.
Wow. I hadn't thought of that. Great theory, Doctor. Have you ever thought about taking a more active role in the reviews?
No.
Back at the Sheba house, Mike and Kevin engage in some playful antics, presumably to help the audience forget the teensy little fact that the city is still being torn apart by mile-high infernos of eldritch flame, before noticing a note that Antonio left with the light sword. Realizing that he's gone after Decker, they are interrupted by the gap sensor, announcing the return of Serrator. The team then splits up, with Mike and Kevin going after Antonio, while Jaden and the girls deal with the Nylock. Meanwhile, it looks like someone has still remembered that the city is in peril, as Bulk and Spike happen across one of the burst wedges of misery. Determined to act as true samurai, the solution to the problem suddenly pops into Bulk's head.
How much gum do you have on you?
What can I say? I buy in bulk.
It's 2 in time.
Whoa! Sorry, I just had a flashback to the reversioning. Which never happened, by the way. As Decker heads off to meet Serrator, he finds Antonio blocking his path. He dismisses the fisherman, fully aware of being spared earlier, and calls his bluff, claiming to be unarmed. Of course, Antonio relents and lays down his sword, begging the half-Nylock to reconsider for the sake of the world. Disgusted with the Gold Ranger's weakness, Decker draws his sword and strikes against him, only to be interrupted by Kevin and Mike. Dismissing them both as unworthy opponents, he escapes and continues on his way.
You're wrong, Decker! His heart is his greatest strength.
Mike, that's all well and good, but shouldn't you be going after him? Is giving Antonio a pep talk really more important? Meanwhile, Jaden, Emily, and Mia have been attempting to retrieve Uramasa from Serrator, but to no avail. The Nylock is still too much for them, and their battle is only interrupted by Decker's long-awaited arrival. Serrator hands him the sword, ordering him to make the final strike to destroy the barrier between worlds, as he deflects the Ranger's futile attacks. Decker raises Uramasa high above his head, and promptly spins around to slash Serrator hard across the chest. Baffled, he demands to know the reason behind the sudden about-face.
I care only for the sword. You made me that way. Remember?
Without the final strike, Serrator's plan falls apart. The flames of the Netherworld die down and dissipate, just as Bulk and Spike complete their absurdly large gumball of goofiness and start rolling it into the gaping hole in the earth, thus once again rendering their heroic efforts completely pointless. Unfortunately, it will take them the next 5 episodes to unstuck themselves. See you at the finale, guys! On the battlefield, Serrator is not particularly handling his defeat well, flipping out and ripping the ground apart with forced lightning. The Rangers take advantage of his maddened state, unleashing the power of the Octo Cannon and Super Bolzuka to finally put the villain down. But things ain't over yet, as Serrator goes Mega, and the Rangers summon all 4 Megazords to take on him and his 2 Papyrus monsters. Although the twins are quickly taken out by the Samurai Megazord and Claw Battlezord, Serrator isn't going down quite so easily. So the Rangers decide to combat the fast and furious Nylock with the good old Gigazord. But when he manages to deflect the Shogun strike, they realize he isn't messing around, and finally bring out the Shark Zord. Why do they keep forgetting that's a thing? So finally, the Rangers are able to channel the power of all their Zords into one ultimate samurai slash, at long last destroying Sir Raider once and for all. In the forest below, Decker encounters a curious Dayu and explains to her that he wants to end his curse on his own terms, but not at the cost of the world. By the setting sun, the Rangers celebrate their victory, happy for Decker's ultimate choice. And that's the end of our episode. So what did I think of it? Well, unlike last time, I have far more issues with the story here than the execution. I think I made my feelings regarding Antonio's subplot pretty clear right from the beginning, but he's not the only one who drew the short straw. The Rangers as a whole feel really ineffective here, not accomplishing much of anything until the final showdown with Sir Raider. At no point is any genuine effort made to detain Decker or to protect the city from the massive amounts of damage being caused by the geysers of evil. In this respect, Bulk and Spike are actually the most proactive characters of the episode, and I don't think I need to tell you how bizarre that is. And speaking of those two, I will admit they were in fine form today, which is a good thing because we won't be seeing them again for quite a long time. On the other side of things, this is a pretty solid character episode for Decker, who is seen here at simultaneously his most villainous, sympathetic, and competent. I am continually surprised at how, despite knowing more about his backstory than he does, the Rangers never show him a shred of sympathy, nor do they ever make the slightest effort to assist him with his plight. I think that capturing him and debating the morality of holding a basically innocent victim against his will would have been a far better exploration of the themes of mercy and personal responsibility than Antonio's poorly conceived crisis of conscience. Overall, though, I do feel the story is fairly well executed, even if I don't agree with the story being told. A number of the performances are somewhat stronger than usual, and the battles are nicely paced and emotionally charged. I just wish that the focus had remained on the pivotal characters of the arc, not on someone who spent the last episode playing fashion photo shoot with a rubber fish. Hopefully the world will be able to survive without Bulk and Spike's heroics as we enter Super Samurai's fateful Final 5 with Fight Fire with Fire. Until then, farewell Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.